What's up, guys? Welcome to the Dynasty Dudes podcast. Bear with us. Rob has the plague, and so he might make gross sounds
We'll try not to.
at some point. He's going to try to mute his microphone when that does happen. So that's how it be.
Are you drinking a beer?
Drinking a 0-calorie root beer.
Oh.
No, this Kroger Big K. Dude, it's been a while, man. This feels good. This is...
Yeah. I wish we'd been able to get more in, but we've both been pretty busy. Me with the move and you with just law school and kid on the way, so.
Yeah. I'm in my rocking chair. We got this is like for rocking kids to sleep. I don't know how kids work. We'll see how this goes. She's going to be a disaster. Yeah, so we're gonna start this off and just we're gonna do little mid-season grades of the first round picks in the last season's rookie draft, and I'm excited. I think there's been some really fun ones. There's been some big hits, and I think there's been some big misses already. There's two that in my mind, I think of that I can already, but one in particular.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And there's one I can't wait to hear your thoughts on.
Yeah, there's one I don't want to talk about.
I don't think it's a disaster yet. But
no.
Anyway, let's get into it. The first overall pick, of course, was Bijan Robinson. He's been good. I think you own him in another dynasty league.
I do.
Yeah, he obviously he just looks fantastic on the field. There was that weird thing this week with Arthur Smith not putting him on the injury report. Whatever. He clearly was dealing with something. It was bizarre though. He just played in the last drive of the game for no reason.
He got one attempt.
Yeah, he got a touch.
Yeah.
He got a touch. But no, so I think the big news, the big takeaway with Bijan is the dude does not touch the ball in the red zone. I think he has one carry inside the 5 since week 1.
Which is crazy because he has such good yards after contact. He is such an efficient ball runner. I mean, it feels like every third touch he gets is a YouTube highlight, right? And so I'm not shocked because Arthur Smith is an idiot, but Bijan's red zone work isn't awesome.
Yeah, and the good news is if you're in a PPR league, it's fine because he catches the ball out of the backfield, whatever. He gets those points that way.
He's the PPR RB10. For a first overall pick, that gives you some hope, I think.
Who also, essentially missed a game.
Yeah, who missed a game.
Yeah, so not bad. But I will say he was kind of going, he was in redraft, he was going 5 overall. I think because unless it's a PPR league, if you're talking a half point redraft league, I think he's definitely more of a 1-2 turn, early second next year. If there doesn't seem to be any improvement on the goal line.
I'd agree with that.
He just wants to pound it with Algier, and it's nice they want to keep him healthy. I get it because those are brutal touches.
Yeah.
But you kind of also know that he's capable of doing it. Unlike, a running back we're going to talk about later, Jahmyr Gibbs, who's, 180-something pounds.
Hey, Jahmyr Gibbs played that whole last game, and he looked awesome.
We'll talk about that. We'll get there. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. He's coming up soon. So I think any other thoughts on Bijan?
No, if you drafted him, you're happy, I think. Yeah.
I agree. Cool. So let's move on to a more interesting player to talk about, and that is Anthony Richardson, who was taken at the 102 in our league. I'm going to come out and say it, and even without the benefit of hindsight, Rob, I think Anthony Richardson should have been the 101.
Should have what?
Should have been the 101.
You think he should have been the 101?
Over Bijan, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think clearly the Colts, who are a relatively competent organization, saw something in Anthony Richardson, used the 4th overall pick on him, and the upside is just crazy. And we saw it. Obviously he's out for the year. And our board Gardner Minshew's holding on the fort like a boss. Like, he's crushing it.
Yeah, he's doing great.
But Anthony Richardson, I think the ceiling is just so unbelievable.
Yeah.
It could have been worth it.
I mean, I don't disagree. Right now, I am almost okay with having missed Anthony Richardson, a player that I really wanted him. Now, with all the injury stuff and him getting banged up, it feels like every game at some point he ends up in that blue medical tent. I don't know, man. I think the ceiling is still there.
Well, he's done for the year now.
Yeah. I know.
So,
done for the year now.
Yeah.
I really like his ceiling if he can stay healthy. I don't know what that's going to look like for him. Like, he really needs to find a mentor who can show him how to not abuse his body so much. And if he does that, then I agree with you. But
yeah, 100% agree. I think it was really telling that first game of the year. Trevor Lawrence, he was asked about Anthony Richardson. He was like, "Dude, he's great, but like, dude, protect yourself, bro." And lo and behold, look at this.
Yeah.
You can't just. These are. You can't be taking hits from NFL DNs just constant, or linebackers constantly, and expect to stay healthy in this league. So, hopefully he learns from it. But I think in the sample size that we saw, nothing but excited. Like, again, other than health. So, so good for Anthony Richardson. I graded good. Fortunately, in our league, what ended up happening is a competitor somehow got the 101. That was disgusting. So he took Bijan, and then someone who was in the tanky tank took Anthony Richardson. So he's not even. I don't even think he's stressing.
No, so, I think of all situations to have AR being a trash team already that like needs another year to rebuild makes sense to me.
Yeah, totally. So, Rob, who was taken at 103?
Bryce Young.
And who took him?
Me.
And so, the floor is yours.
I was really, I am excited going forward where they are changing who's calling their plays. They're trying to simplify their offense and make it match kind of a more simple scheme like other rookies are running. But so far, it's hard to tell what a rookie QB can do when the D end has 2 seconds between the snap of the ball and impact on the quarterback. I am less worried about Bryce Young than I am the Panthers organization. If that makes sense. I think that Young could be productive and competitive in the league, but I don't know if that's with the Panthers, and they kind of went all in on him. So kudos to them, I guess. Yeah. Because he has glimpses of greatness, but for the most part, I mean, they can't get a run game going because their O-line sucks. So he's under blitz all the time. And he can't let plays develop or do his thing because he's always being blitzed. So.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think there's to me, what I'm seeing, one, dude looks small. Dude.
He does.
He looks small out there. Yeah. That's not to say he can't overcome that, but man, you
can't overcome being small with a bad O-line. Like.
Right. Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I haven't been following it that close. I think I've watched I guess two because the Seahawks game. So I've watched two. Well, no, that was Andy Dalton played that game. So I've watched one Bryce Young Panther.
Yeah.
That was the Monday Nighter with the Saints. And yeah, look, Bryce Young, he was picked number 1 for a reason. He has the track record at Alabama. Like he looked so good in college. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. The weapons around him are abysmal, right? Like the leading receiver is 33-year-old white Adam Thielen. You know, like it's just, which, I mean, there's benefits to having veteran receivers around, but shout out the Packers for literally having an all rookie offense. But
yeah,
we can talk about that later. So all that to be said, it's definitely a wait and see. I'm not sounding the alarm bells. I'm not like, oh, he's the worst. He's in a terrible situation.
If the Panthers do not make moves in the offseason with their O-line, I would sound the alarm bells. I think I am
For
more
sure.
concerned with the O-line than I am with receivers. And there's some interesting stuff out there of throws Young has made where his receiver gave up on the route and just, football stuff. I watched some breakdowns of it. Not to say Bryce Young hasn't played bad. He's had some horrible plays, but there's not a lot to work with there. So it's kind of they're coming off their bye week this week. And so if I don't see anything change this week, it's going to be okay, pause and stop watching Bryce Young play until next year.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that for sure. And we'll see if they make any moves at the deadline. So next, I think who went 4 was Jahmyr Gibbs, if I'm not mistaken.
Stroud went next.
Did Stroud go at 4? Okay. I guess we could talk about Stroud. Good for him for going at 4. Looks great.
I think that Stroud should have been the first QB off the fantasy board. If we were to draft right now, I think I would draft Stroud right behind Bijan. He's the QB I would take off the board.
Yeah, I mean, we can debate that with Richardson and the health and everything, but
Stroud's done it. Stroud looks so good.
Yeah, he does look good.
And he doesn't look like he's going anywhere. He's not hurt. He's not getting banged up. His team sucks.
Yeah.
And he's still out there cooking.
Yeah, I do want to. It'll be interesting. It does seem like the league is adjusting to him a little bit. Like he really came out and just started, just guns blazing. He was on fire. He wasn't throwing picks. It'll be interesting. They just had a bye this week, so they've only had 6 games. I am curious how the league does adjust, because I just don't know. Like I struggle to believe that a quarterback, especially one who wasn't exactly like super highly I mean, he was obviously second overall pick, but it's not like he was some generational talent. I'm a little bit of a wait and see, but I'm obviously very happy with how he's looked. I think he's looked awesome.
Yeah. I think the last couple QB drafts have gone to show that your pick status doesn't matter as much as what you do when you get the ball. Like, I don't know. How many second round picks are looking like career guys right now? How many, you got Brock Purdy. In my brain, I'm looking at like Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts, and Tua in particular as guys that kind of break the mold of QB value. Just NFL draft versus production and career. And so if a guy goes out and shows that he can do it, I'm kind of bought into that guy. That's my new policy going forward.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. And I don't want to.
Yeah. I'm trying to pull away from the athletic hype of the Trey Lances, where you hold on to them for way too long and they never do anything, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. No, I get it. I totally get it for sure. Yeah. So anyway, obviously just grade him an A and move on. But I do think before we crown him the greatest quarterback ever,
that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying like he's shown it.
Right.
And Anthony Richardson, he's shown that he can run, but he hasn't shown his ability to win games as that pocket passer or finish a game as the runner. And that's, I don't know.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we can move on to the next bunch, which is Jahmyr Gibbs, and then after that, Jackson Smith and Jigba. So this is coming off right now was Jahmyr Gibbs. Call it a breakout. It was a breakout. He had a great game. Kind of the first great game of the Jahmyr Gibbs era. That being said, 1, obviously David Montgomery was out. 2, they were getting boat raced. So the Ravens were obviously, I didn't watch the game, but they were, was it 28-0 at one point? So yeah. So I mean, a little bit tough with such a negative game strip, but obviously Jahmyr Gibbs, he was taken 12th overall. That's a great game. We've been kind of waiting for the Lions to incorporate him in the offense, and now they have. So we'll see what that looks like with Montgomery going forward. But I think you're stoked on Gibbs.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big selling points for me, even in games with lighter work, right? His yards per carry, 6, 2.4, 4.7, 5, 6.1. That's stellar. From a rookie running back, you are excited when you see those numbers. The question mark is, does Dan Campbell hate 3-down backs? Does he hate using his best running back? And it's kind of a wait and see going forward, right?
Yeah. I think the answer to your question is yes, to some degree, depending. Also, I reject the premise to your question a little bit. They're different backs. Like David Montgomery, he's a pass protecting, ground and pound running back, a lot bigger than Jahmyr Gibbs.
I
I
think
can
that the
guarantee.
Lions' first game of the season, there were multiple clips of David Montgomery getting gobbled up in pass pro.
Yeah,
They ran
he had
through
one.
him like he
There was
was paper.
There was a clip that he got. Yeah, and the guy was running full speed. Yada yada yada. David Montgomery. The numbers say David Montgomery's a good pass blocker. Like there was one clip that sucked. But what I'll say is, I will guarantee you this: Jahmyr Gibbs will not be getting goal line. Like maybe minimal, but David Montgomery's getting the first touches on the goal line. That's just, we saw that last year with Jamal Williams, and we're seeing it this year with Dave Montgomery. So if you're waiting for that, don't hold your breath. But seeing Gibbs more involved in the pass game, seeing him more, schemed into the offense, I think that's all positive, and I think that's going to continue going forward.
I agree with that.
So let's move on to JSN. How about you, Rob? What do you think of that? What do you think of JSN?
I think the same thing I thought going into this year, where any production he gets this year is a bonus until Tyler Lockett retires, which I believe his contract is up this year. Like, this is the last year of it.
He might have one more year. Let me check. I'll check. You can keep talking about it.
JSN feels like Seattle's solution to Tyler Lockett leaving. And so seeing him be productive is awesome. Like, I'm excited. He's had some good games. He's had some big plays. But mostly I'm looking for him to just not suck. That's what I'm watching for this year. And he doesn't. He had the broken hand thing, so they couldn't run him in run blocking situations. But I am optimistic when it comes to JSN.
Yeah, so the deal is Tyler Lockett isn't out in his contract, but it still has quite a bit of a cap hit, so it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing. Maybe they try to buy it down and bring back one more year. And yeah, it's been interesting with DK Metcalf out. It's mostly been, so the problem is JSN and DK Metcalf are not the same receiver. What they've been doing is they've been putting Jake Bobo out wide. But then, JSN goes into the slot, and so he's been in those three receiver sets. But I agree with you. I don't think we're going to see the full weight of JSN until Tyler Lockett is out of Seattle. Just because
I don't think Lockett
too similar to role.
I don't think Lockett played last week, and JSN looked really good last week.
No, right? Lockett played.
Did he play?
No, Lockett played. DK didn't play. So DK didn't play, and JSN was definitely a bigger part of the offense. But I do think Lockett is the one doing more of the blocking of JSN.
Yeah.
So let's. So I agree. It's been fine. Let's move on to my pick. No. So this would have been 105. Yeah, no, this is me. This is the 107, where I went back and forth between two players, one of which we'll talk about in a second. And I went with Buffalo Bills star tight end, Utah's Dalton Kincaid.
You mean the rookie tight end too? Maybe 3 if Luke Musgrave isn't hurt?
Yeah, well, I'll say this about, so obviously so you had Luke Musgrave and Sam Laporta who walked in and they were the tight end one. They were, hey, we don't have another tight end, you're the guy. Kincaid, even though he was he was the only first round tight end taken, Kincaid had the tough deal where he walked in and Dawson Knox was there. Now Dawson Knox just announced he's having wrist surgery. No idea how long that'll put him out, but you can't imagine anything surgery is less than a month, unless, I don't know, probably at least a month. And he finally had, even with knocks on the field, he had his breakout this last week. So I'm really excited. I think it's going to be fun. Even last week during his breakout, Dalton Kincaid has not been seeing that goal line work, and Dawson Knox has been the guy there. It's time to see if Kincaid can be that guy and have some role expansion. So
yeah,
exciting.
I would call it a breakout. I think having your first game over 10 points isn't the breakout, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
But he's definitely trending positive. If you drafted Kincaid, here's my line. If you drafted Kincaid above the 1.8, I think you should be nervous. If you drafted him after the 1.8, you're excited because it looks like there's some life with that late first round pick. I think taking him in the middle of the first round is risky, and you should be feeling the weight of that risk right now because he hasn't panned out. That's what I see.
I'll say this, Rob. I was between two guys, and one of them was Dalton Kincaid, and the other one was drafted at, the 108. Let's just talk about Quentin Johnston. This is like that. Alert! Warning! He sucks. You know.
Yeah.
I was sitting there for dude. I was using all my time because we had 10-minute picks, and I was like, dude, I'm going back and forth. You have this big wide receiver that's connected to Justin Herbert, but I had my heart on Kincaid, dude. It's bad, man.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that Quentin Johnston would be bad. I did. Because of Mike Williams. I thought Mike Williams was going to have a year. I thought this was his year. And then he got hurt. And I was like, oh, maybe he just steps out. The dude couldn't look any more irrelevant than he does now. I mean,
yeah. And Mike Williams is out for the year.
So. Yeah, Mike Williams is out for the year. Who knows if he plays football again level, just with his injury history. And QJ cannot step up. I mean, he has, how many catches does he have on the season?
Yeah, not very many.
7 catches.
7 catches. It's a yikes.
Yeah. What's his yards? It's just not good. He has 64 yards. 7 catches on 15 targets for 64 yards. That is, I think there's a real shot Odell Beckham has a better game than that this year. And the dude's 100 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you drafted Quentin Johnston, you should be sad.
Yeah. Yeah, fortunately, the person who drafted Quentin Johnston also drafted Jordan Addison, which we'll get to in a second, which could not be more polar opposites. But I actually, dude, when Mike Williams got hurt, I essentially shorted Quentin Johnston, went out and got Joshua Palmer. And I was like, dude, I don't know if this Quentin Johnston guy is going to work out. And lo and behold, Joshua Palmer is the clear 2. Not even, it is not 2A and 2B. It is Keenan Allen and Joshua Palmer, and Quentin Johnston's there too.
I would throw their tight end in there. I forget his name.
You got Gerald Everett. Yeah, you got Gerald Everett out there. But
yeah, he's getting more targets than Quentin Johnston by a lot.
Yeah, it's ugly, man. It's ugly. And I've seen some tape on QJ that maybe suggests maybe you have a Christian Watson kind of style breakout at some point, and you know what, we're all rooting for him, give or take. It's I hope it works out, but it's not, the fact that the opportunity's there and he's not taking it is bad news. Bad news for sure.
Yeah.
So, and he can't beat out Joshua Palmer. So that says all you can say. So technically at the 108, what happened in this league is we had a guy who thought he was going to outsmart the room and took a running back based on tape, I guess. Now, I actually don't think it's the worst, and obviously I think he took him for next year. But dude, Kendre Miller. Now this was also before Kamara's suspension was only 3 games instead of what a lot of people thought was going to be 6. But man, hasn't looked great. Hasn't been awesome.
No, It does not look good at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's playing the long game with Kendra Miller, I think. So I get that. I think, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think technically
Obviously,
Brock Purdy was still available at this point, and at a minimum,
yeah.
Brock Purdy's like a better trade piece. But
Yeah. Yeah. I'll
yeah,
say this about, at least Kamara and Jamal Williams are both like over the hill in terms of running back age. So you've got that going for you.
what are the chances that
I
in 3 games, Devin A. Kane, whatever, who was
A Chan.
drafted,
It's A
yeah,
Chan now. It's A
A.
Chan.
Chan,
Yeah.
who was drafted later, I think, what was he, the end of the first round?
Yeah, something like that.
Either way, he went after Miller. What are the chances that in his 3 games, Devin A. Chan outscored Kendra Miller's career? 2 years? I mean,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
brutal. It's bad. So also both those guys, both these busts, quote unquote. I think QJ more than Miller, but both of them TCU. Shout out TCU. No, I do understand if your argument is just, hey, Kendra Miller is a 2024 piece. Okay, that's fine. I get it. He was drafted behind a couple of very established running backs, but I'd be concerned.
Yeah. Me too.
So let's talk about Jordan Addison, who may be the biggest hit of this entire draft.
No. All right. No, there's a bigger hit.
You're talking about Purdy? Who?
Puka. What round did Puka go in?
Oh my gosh, the 4th round. We're talking about 4. Okay, I thought we were just going to go in the top.
No,
12.
you're good.
Look,
but you can't call, like, I'm sitting here looking at the list of rookie wide receivers, and you can't call Jordan Addison the biggest hit when I'm just staring down Puka's. I mean, what does he have right now? 700 yards? Yeah, 750.
It's unreal. Yeah, I think he was taken in the 4th.
Yeah.
Unreal. That's one of the great hits of all time. I think Carson took him and traded him. What an idiot.
I think he did. They traded him back and forth a couple times.
Dude, shout out Puka Nacua, man. Good for him. Good for him. I should have been following BYU football more. That's my
How many times did you say no to giving Carson a 3rd-round pick for Puka? Because I know I did it at least 3 times.
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
That sucks. It sucks,
It does suck.
Yeah, Puka's great. It's awesome. I love it. He flew way under the radar. He is why the 4th round exists, and it's awesome. So shout out Puka Nacua. Now, I was sticking purely with the 1st round. We got Jordan Addison, who was drafted somewhere around here. At this point, I don't exactly know where everyone's drafted, and we're not going to talk about Brock Purdy because it's a different situation. But
110. Jordan Addison, won at the 110.
Yeah, so okay, we're right on track, right? Because Purdy won in the 9, and then Kendra Miller won at the 8. So Jordan Addison, again, the guy who drafted QJ drafted Jordan Addison, so not as much crying because those two were kind of the two that people were going between because they got drafted right there. Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, he is good.
Yeah, and with obviously Jefferson's out right now, so he's now the 1. But it doesn't matter. He's really good. They'll both be good.
Yeah. I think the Vikings are a team to watch going forward. I mean, they're 3 primary pass catchers with Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, and TJ Hawkinson. Really good football players. If they can get a real running back, I actually think that they should just sign Kirk Cousins to another contract. Just because why waste the careers of these guys? Cousins gets the job done. Get a legit running back, and that Vikings offense is super scary.
They have a legit running back in Alexander Madison, Boise State legend.
That dude is trash. Dude, so the amount of watching them play. Who did they play this week?
San Francisco.
That's right. They played San Fran. Watching them play San Fran, I mean, the amount of times that he would just like run down the field. Ball's coming up, ball comes down, hits him in the hands, and he didn't catch it. Like, dude, what are you doing?
He's the guy. Alex
Yeah.
Gimenez is the guy.
Ugh,
Anyway,
yuck.
Jordan Addison's really good. Should be continue to be good in this. Again, obviously, as you just alluded to, Rob, we've got problems in quarterbackville potentially in the very near future for Minnesota. So that's something to be monitored. But yeah, stoked on that. Last couple of guys we have, if I'm not mistaken, want to talk about Will Levis real quick. He's starting this Sunday. They announced that.
Woohoo.
Yeah, so no notes right now. No notes.
No notes.
Yeah, so we'll see. That'll be a complete TBD. Stoked that he's got an opportunity this early in the season.
Yeah.
So that's at least something. And then we have Zay Flowers was taken in the second, which is crazy. What were we doing? I guess QJ would have gone at the 11, and then Devon Achane, who
Zay Flowers also
is,
looks like a good hit. He looks like a good pick.
Yes. Yeah, he super does.
Yeah.
And then we have Devon Achane, who also looks really good.
Man, I don't know if I've been more wrong about a player. I mean, I've been right and I was wrong. I was right. He's too small. He's going to get hurt. He's missing time constantly. Right. I was wrong when he is on that field. I mean, he is Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he is scoring all of the points, all the breakouts. Question is, can he stay on the field?
Yeah. I think the deal is you just want pieces of that Miami offense, and whoever the RB1 is, you just want him. And Devon Achane is they're just it's just a track meet out there with Tyreek Hill, Devon Achane, and Jalen Waddle, who's obviously been on
what's his name? Raheem Mostert. I mean, that dude is
hella fast.
Yeah, that is such a fast offense.
Yeah. Yep, it's all crazy. All crazy. Anyway, so those were kind of the top guys that are probably worth talking about. Obviously,
Sam Laporta.
Okay, forgot the other tight end, Sam Laporta.
I mean, he has been the dude has been so much more relevant than the tight end we talked about. Like, he is a plug and play right now. If you have Sam Laporta, you are starting him over everyone except for Kelsey, Hopkinson, the guy for the Ravens.
Andrews.
Thank you. And Andrews. I would start him over anyone but those three.
Yeah, I mean, you'd argue Kittle. Anyway, but yeah, no, I'm with you. Like, Sam Laporta is obviously really good. Iowa tight end. It's just how those guys work.
Yeah.
I think everyone kind of looked at it. I actually regret. So I had a middling third round or a second round pick, and Laporta was there, but I ended up taking Mayer. Now I traded him away, but yeah, Laporta. Yeah, obviously Mayer is in a situation. One, he's a better blocker than the other guys. Two, Mayer is behind Austin Hooper. It's just classic like rookie tight end stuff. There just happens to be a situation right now where two rookie tight ends that were taken literally just jumped in and didn't have anyone in front of them. It was just, hey, we need you to come play tight end. That would be Sam Laporta and Luke Musgrave.
Laporta's looked awesome with it, and he has been balling out.
Yeah, he's looked great. So stoked out. Obviously, he's a tight end coach.
That's right. Their head coach was a tight end. I actually feel dumb for not thinking, Detroit took a tight end. I should look at this guy. Nah, completely was off my radar until week 1, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's a mess.
Yeah. I regret taking Mayer over him for sure. But again, I probably still trade him just because that's who I was.
We never talked about Charbonnet. He went in the first round.
Oh, did he really? Where did he go?
112.
112?
Yeah.
Oh, Zach Charbonnet. Dude, Kenneth Walker looks really good.
Has Kenneth Walker missed time this year?
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, Sharp's missing time right now.
when Sharp's on the field, he looks like a productive backup. Um, other than that, not super sure why Seattle drafted him.
Yeah, I think everyone's just frustrated that Seattle did that.
Yep.
You suck. Because he does look good. He's just behind a better player, or at least a more established player. So TBD on all that, but yeah, I don't see Charbonnet taking that role anytime soon. And the problem with that is, unlike with Kendra Miller, Kenneth Walker's like the same age. So what's the benefit there? So yeah, I think that's tough. So before we get out of here, we kind of looked at all those guys. The trade deadline here is coming up. Wow, Christian Watson's healthy after that. I thought he tore his ACL. That's pretty crazy. Not that it matters, because apparently the Packers suck. But also, anyway.
Why do the Packers suck? What is their problem right now?
I think there's a lot of things. I think the main thing with the Green Bay Packers is that, well, one, they can't score in the first half, then they play from behind.
Why can't they score in the first half?
I don't know. I literally don't know. Like, I know you want me to say Jordan Love, but like I literally I follow a lot of Packer fan accounts and stuff like that and try and figure it out, and everyone's just kind of scratching their heads. I'll say this about the Packers: like, you've got literally every single wide receiver they have is either a first or second year player.
Mm-hmm.
Their top two tight ends are rookies. And the one guy who's supposed to be the veteran on the offense, Aaron Jones, has played 1.5 games. So it's like
he literally pulled his hamstring running a touchdown. He ran in a touchdown, grabbed his hamstring, and then jogged into the tunnel.
Yeah. That was game one, and they crushed game one, and then he hasn't played since. And it's like, dude, you're watching routes, and like receivers are finishing routes in the same place, which is always bad. Like, you never want. So it's just unfortunate right now in Green Bay, and a lot of it, the talking heads are all just like, oh, Jordan Love, it's all Jordan Love. It's like, yeah, I mean, has he played great? No, but also, dog, there is no one. Like, even you talk about CJ Stroud's kind of an interesting comp, right? Because CJ Stroud, also in a young offense, he has some veterans. Like, Dalton Schultz is a veteran. It's great to have a veteran tight end. Devin Singletary is a veteran. Like, literally no veterans on Green Bay's offense.
7 picks in 4 games is a tough pill. I mean, 7 picks in 4. I'm not saying that I think Jordan Love is a bust, but I think, and some of those picks are picks where it hits a receiver in the hands, the ball pops up in the air, and the defender makes a play before it hits the ground. Some of those are Jordan Love just threw to the wrong jersey. But if Green Bay wants to win games, I think he's got to find something. Like, right now, I would say he's an average quarterback, and if they want to win games, he needs to be an above-average quarterback.
Yeah. No, I'm really hoping. I kind of made a joke in the group chat, but I kind of hope it happens. Like, dude, go get Hunter Renfrow. Go get someone who knows how to, like, who has played NFL football for more than 5 minutes. Like, it's.
No, I get that. That's. I feel the same way with Bryce Young, where you're like, like, you have veterans, sure, but they're old. You don't have anybody else that can just be productive. There's a lot of clips of receivers giving up on routes, and then he hits the deep ball, and they have to turn the jets on and can't catch up. I mean, you're like, please go get somebody that I know the name of to roster. Yeah.
Well, it's actually interesting. It's almost the opposite problem. Like, you got these veterans, and it's great to have veterans, but they're just like mediocre. Like, you just have no good weapons, where the Packers have these kind of like explosive wide receivers who are 10.
I do think that Romeo Doubs will be huge for the Packers' future. He seems like a good consistency piece. He's not a big play necessary. He doesn't seem like a diva. He seems like a really good piece to have on a team that can go out there and catch 10 passes for 90 yards and feel like he did his job. He doesn't need the touchdowns and the hype.
Yeah, totally. No, I don't disagree. I like Jaden Reed. I like a lot of things that are
Yeah,
happening.
I'm
And I
not
think
bagging Watson.
totally.
I know he's your guy, but he's a big play guy. I mean, he's the kind of guy that goes for 3 receptions, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And can't just, that's not the same. He's not a foundational piece.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. I call him Big Debo, and I actually think that's a good comp. That because he's really not he's more of a zone coverage receiver. He get him the ball in space, and he makes magic happen. But
You
in
say
terms
Big
of like,
Debo?
yeah, because he's taller than Debo, by quite a bit. But he's like kind of a similar
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
play style for sure.
But I feel
where
like
Debo just not a route runner, and neither is Watson.
Yeah, well, and a lot of Debo's usage and what was I going to say? Just his usage in San Fran is so inconsistent. Some games they want to run him, some games they want to throw the ball to him. Feels like he's not special at any one thing except for running with the ball. So their whole goal is just put the ball in his hands.
Right. I think that's the same thing with Christian Watson.
Yeah.
Just get those guys the ball in space and let them make magic happen.
Yeah.
Real quick, so a few trade. I think it'll be an interesting trade deadline in terms of the skill position guys. Any pass catcher wearing a Broncos jersey? Maybe not wearing a Broncos jersey in a week.
I mean, I feel like the rumors have been Jerry Jeudy's leaving for like 2 years now.
Yeah, I think it's time though. I really do. It sort of muddles it with the fact that they did win this week, but dude, get him out. Like it's time. It's time to sell some pieces. So you got him, Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry's a Raven.
He's a Raven. Interesting.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Which sucks because I have Gus Edwards, who apparently is just the back now. Whatever. If Derrick Henry's not a Raven, I'm going to be like over the moon.
I mean, where else could he go that ruins things? Where else?
I mean, the Ravens are one team that just like is pretty desperate.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to think of other teams that are desperate and aren't rebuilding, right? Like teams that think they can win.
Yeah, I really don't know what other teams like need running back help like that. It really seems to be. I've heard reports that like the Ravens have been like highly interested in Derrick Henry, so which makes a ton of sense. So we'll see if that happens. In terms of other wide receivers, I can't think off the top of my head who. Obviously, again, Broncos pass catchers, Derrick Henry. Those are probably the biggest pieces. Likely D-Hop, I guess, if we're talking about the Titans.
D-Hop. I think everyone on the Titans is for sale. All of them.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a Chief.
Yeah.
Geez, I can't. Hunter Renfrow. I know we mentioned him earlier. There's reports that they're not going to get anything for him because of his contract, but he hates Josh McDaniels and Josh McDaniels hates him. So.
Yep, that's what I read this morning too, was that there are some issues between him and the coach that are just irreparable. And you wonder what? I mean, it's not like Josh McDaniel is an awesome coach. The guy's kind of an idiot.
Loser.
But how do you disenfranchise a guy that really helped you out when you were in a tough spot? I guess Josh McDaniels wasn't the coach when Hunter Renfrow went off, was he?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all kind of a disaster. So, yeah, good for hopefully Hunter Renfrow lands in a spot where he can be utilized and the coach actually likes him.
Yeah.
But yeah, outside of that, I've always, again, it's not going to happen now, but I've always wanted it. I've always wanted T. Higgins to move at some point.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. It's not happening. But
no. There were rumors about Kirk Cousins, and he said he won't sign his no trade clause. So
no, I don't think a quarterback's getting moved. I think that that ship's sailing. The one the one guy who could get moved, there have been some Darren Waller talks.
Huh.
That would definitely be interesting if the Giants decide to just call it a season, which they probably should do. They're really bad.
The Giants suck.
Yeah, they did just beat the Commanders, but they should sell Darren Waller for anything.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants, what they should do is kind of rip it down to the studs. Well, there isn't a lot to rip down, and go build an O-line. You paid this quarterback a ton of money. Go build an O-line in the offseason and then let him do what he can do. Yeah. The Giants just, I don't get it.
Yeah. No, I sort of agree. But that's pretty much it. But, dude, it was fun to get a record again.
Glad to be back.
Each other this week.
We do.
We've got a lot.
We made a bet between us playing each other, and then you immediately made 2 trades. So, it is what it is.
Dude, I did go snag Calvin Ridley. I've been trying to get Ridley forever, man. It was time.
Yeah, for what it's worth, those trades didn't concern me.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I'm very happy to play against Amari Cooper, especially when you got him. I believe the Browns play Seattle this week.
Yeah.
Seattle secondary. Huh?
Yeah, I think I'm actually probably sitting because they announced PJ Walker starting. Currently, I have Christian Watson sitting on my bench, so I'm probably going to play him. And I also have Tyler Lockett sitting on my bench. Dude, I'm kind of deep at receiver. That's crazy. No buys this week, which is weird. That makes.
I think I thought I had buys. Oh no, I just have a lot of injured people. Never mind.
Yeah, no buys, 0 buys this week, which is odd, weird scheduling.
Yeah. Like in the NFL.
In the NFL, none.
Oh, that's cool. Good for us.
Yeah, no buys. So, yeah.
Well,
we have a lot of stuff going on Thursday because I have Kincaid. I'm probably going to start Rachaad White because why not? And then Mike Evans, of course. Do you have anyone going tomorrow night? You have any Bucks or you have Cade Otton? You playing Cade Otton? Probably.
No, I'm not. He is very happily sitting in my taxi slot. Though, for you listeners out there, if you want Cade Otton, 2nd round pick, he's yours.
2nd round pick.
2nd round pick. I know that there's a need for tight ends, and I have 2 garbage tight ends that nobody wants to pay for. It's fine, but selling them for a 3rd does nothing for me.
Oh, dude, early 3rd's pretty solid for Cade Otton, I think.
It's awesome. I have not been offered an early 3rd for anything.
It's fair.
Usually, if I get offered a 3rd, it's by a team that might make the playoffs, and you're like, oh, thanks, dude. You're offering me the 3.06. Yippee! Yeah.
I get that, but that's probably about where Cade Otton falls. But
doesn't matter. He's a rookie. He's a rookie, and he's doing all right.
He's
fine. He's a 2nd-year tight end. Tight ends are late bloomers, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
Takes him a while.
Fair enough. Hey, we'll get out of here, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace. Good to be back.
Adios.